everybody. Welcome to Whiskidiots. Whiskey for Dummies by Dummies. I'm Joe. I'm joined, as always, by my good friend.
Hi, I'm Rich, and welcome to Whiskidiots. And what a bizarre setup we have today.
It is. So in case you're wondering, it's a little different. The sound might be a little weird. Picture might be a little off. But just to let everybody know, Rich is, as usual, recording from the home base in Hollywood, California. But I did a little traveling this week, and I am on the East Coast now. I'm in Miami, Florida, doing a little Whiskidiots travel.
Yeah, and you sound really good in my headphones, so
That's
hopefully...
not bad.
Yeah, so hey, we're doing
Making technology happen across the country, Rich. So it's been quite an exciting week. I mean, we took a little time off to kind of travel and all that stuff, but we're back in the swing of things here. I'm very excited today. I want to talk about a couple things. I want to talk about our guest. We have a great guest today, a very old friend of ours, Carin Hazmat.
Yeah, Carin, we've all been friends for about 10 years, I think, and
a little more. I've known Carin about 15. I think you too.
Yeah, it's been a while.
And she's traveled with us.
Yeah, we all went to England together.
We all went to England together and had a great time. We've been to a lot of shows with her and stuff. And she has a pretty interesting. It's funny because I'm in Florida, where she's from, but she's going to join us later from back in L.A.
Right. She was going to join us from Wyoming
last week,
but we had some technical issues.
Little technical issues, and she was traveling, and some pretty cool stuff regarding Wyoming that we'll discuss later.
So Carin, if we should explain, Carin is she's a designer, graphic designer, and also she has her own fashion line called Hazmat Designs, and she makes clothing for rock stars as well. And
she does, and she's an amazing artist. And I think her bread and butter basically is she makes concert posters for some of the biggest bands ever: Black Sabbath, Slayer, Alice Cooper, Dead and Company. She does a lot of their touring posters and their T-shirts.
And the T-shirts, yes. And this is actually one of her T-shirts that I'm wearing now.
Oh, cool. Yep. So
she'll be pleased to see that.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're wearing a shirt by any given band, I mean, tons. And not only, she's kind of big into the heavy metal thing and the hard rock thing, but she has, like I said, Dead and Company. She has a wide array of stuff that she designs for. And if you own some concert tees of the last 5 years or so, she probably did the design for it, which is kind of exciting. So that's pretty cool. So we'll have her on a little bit, and she'll be tasting some whiskey with us.
Yeah.
A very exciting thing, Rich, I want to talk about, because I meant, you're in the music business. I've been in the film business for a long time, and I had a very exciting week. Actually, the last 10 days have been very exciting for me. I think I got a little hit movie on my hands. If anybody's seen on Hulu, there's a new film out starring Andy Samberg called Palm Springs. I was on the producing team with that film, and we are, as of right now, it sounds like the most downloaded film or streamed film on Hulu right now.
Wow! Congratulations.
So thank you. Very exciting times. I was at this. We worked on the film last year, about a year ago. We premiered at Sundance this year. Huge acquisition at Sundance from Hulu. And who knew we had a little hit on our hands? Small little project, but we had a lot of fun making it. Andy was great. J.K. Simmons was great. Super funny movie. If you haven't seen it, check it out on Hulu, Palm Springs.
So what's the movie about? Fill me in. I have no idea.
Yeah, check it out. You're going to love it. And I don't want to give too much away, but it's basically about a guy at a wedding who befriends one of the bridesmaids, who's the sister of the bride, and he kind of drags her into an infinite time loop. Kind of Groundhog Day. That seems to be the common, because people can. Oh, it's fantastic! Great movie.
So this is what, one of the first movies you've done that hasn't gone straight to DVD?
Yeah, no. I've done plenty that have gone theatrical, and I got a couple more coming. But really excited about Palm Springs, and the feedback I'm getting from friends and stuff has been great, and the reviews have been, astounding. Terrific reviews from everybody.
Maybe I'll check it out tomorrow. Yeah, I'll check it out tomorrow.
Absolutely.
On Hulu, right?
A lot of fun. Let's get on to some whiskey. Let's get on some whiskey chat there.
I need a drink.
You do. We're going almost there. I just want to remind everybody, hit us up on Twitter. Hit us up on Instagram. Our website is up, www.whiskidiots.com, at Whiskidiots on Instagram and Twitter. And we're currently available on YouTube. And there's a link from our website directly to the YouTube podcast. And also, we're on SoundCloud now.
On SoundCloud.
And more to come. More to come.
And don't forget, when you like us on YouTube and you follow us, also hit that little bell and it'll notify you when we put up our
it gives us a half a cent. Percent of a cent of a cent.
It'll notify you when we have our next video up. So
really, That's right. It will. It will. And
Yeah.
we're not doing this for money, by the way. This is purely for the love of drinking and getting a little, one night a week, getting to try some new whiskeys and having a good time with it. So
we might have to do a GoFundMe for our liver surgery.
exactly. So stay tuned for that. No, but also, Rich, you pointed me out. We've talked about Johnny Walker quite a bit on this show. We've reviewed several Johnny Walkers already. And you sent me a very interesting note the other day that Johnny Walker, in the whole eco-friendly world that we're in now, Johnny Walker is considering paper bottles or
wood.
receptacles.
It's like wood. I think it said it's like a mix. It's like a soft wood bottle.
A pulpy. Remember, I mentioned I hated pulp, but that was in my juice.
Yeah, and I like the band. But no, it's it's like a little wooden box thing, which they keep, which I guess it's sealed and doesn't leak.
I didn't know that. Yeah, I didn't. And it has a layer. There's a protective layer inside. Yeah. So that paper or wood does not affect.
Exactly.
Scotch.
Yeah, and it's not like a milk carton or anything.
But is it like box
really
wine?
nice.
Is it gonna be like box wine? Is it gonna be like a box wine thing?
Crate whiskey.
Crate whiskey, box whiskey. I mean, I've brown bagged some whiskey in my day. I mean, is it much of a departure from that?
It's quite exciting because if you think how environmentally unsustainable all these bottles are, and you can recycle them, but it takes a lot of energy to do all that, and just to make glass, it takes a lot of energy.
I never knew this. Yeah, I never knew this, Rich. Is glass actually environmentally unsound? I just never thought of glass. Plastic, of course, and other things, but I never thought of glass as being.
I think it's the amount of energy that it takes to heat the silica and everything and turn it into glass. All that energy to make glass bottles, which then tend to be. Some of them are recycled, but not all of them are recycled. And then it takes forever for it to break down.
I see
the whole thing.
I see this lasting the first batch. And right back to bottles.
I don't know. I mean, all these tech companies like Amazon and Tesla, and they're all started to make these statements now that they're all going to be, carbon neutral by 2040 and all this stuff. So it's the future. I mean, I think you'll see this from pretty much every major manufacturer of wines and whiskeys. I really do. It's just the future. It's because it's a great selling point. People are becoming more and more environmentally friendly.
They are. But there's also the branding, tying into our last episode. There's the branding of whiskey, and the bottle to me is part of it. Like, will it cheapen it? Yeah. Like box wine, for example. People avoid box wine like the plague sometimes. And now they're doing aluminum cans of wine. You can go to 7-Eleven and pick up a aluminum can.
A can of wine's just.
Whiskey
so great.
Yeah. I'm into it. But we'll see. I mean, I like the sexiness of the bottle. I like the way whiskey's packaged.
Actually,
I like the ability to see the whiskey in the clear bottle
do you remember,
as well.
Do you remember when we were in England and we saw those Jack Daniels cans?
We did. Remember? Can you imagine though a Jack Daniels box? I don't. That doesn't. It's not very rock and roll.
Box of Jack Daniels.
Got me a box. Is that gonna be a lyric in a song? Got my box of Jack Daniels, and I'm off to.
I think when they have the festivals come back, walking around the festival with a box of Jack Daniels would be pretty cool.
You actually bring up a very good point because there's been problems through the years. I mean, we've been to shows now that don't even allow cans. When we go to the whiskey, they don't even let you hold your can of beer. They pour it into a plastic cup.
Oh yeah.
So
that's
the flavor's already getting ruined in the plastic cup. So imagine they just give you a nice box of Jack. With like a Capri Sun, like when you were a kid, like a little juice box. You got your little Jack juice box with a straw. I mean,
you Johnny Walker? You need your little box of Johnny Walker? I think it's great.
Let's keep an eye on that because as soon as it comes out, we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna try some. And I'm interested to see how this box. Think of it as a juice box. I'm not hating.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's a great idea. I hope to see more distillers doing that kind of thing. So let's do it, shall we? Should we get on to the one?
We will. I want to do a little. We can. Yeah. I want to do a little.
I need a drink.
Let's do the bottle of the day, but then I want to talk about some other whiskeys related to the bottle of the day before we get into the bottle of the day. So you ready? Rich, you ready to introduce the bottle of the day?
All right.
I am. I'm very excited about this one, by the way. Very excited. Never had it. I've never had it.
Oh yeah, this is all new for all of us, I think. So here we go. Hang on. 1, 2, 3. There you go.
And there it is. This is called Wyoming Whisky small batch bourbon whiskey from the Wyoming Whisky Company.
I don't think it was much of a surprise because it's right there.
Oh well, if anybody looks.
But anyway, the effort was appreciated with that unveiling there,
Rich,
Joe.
Yeah, let's talk about what. I mean, look, the name of our show was given to us from the ether for a reason.
Right.
So Wyoming Whiskey, I'm very excited about this one, Rich. I'd never heard of it. What happened was that Carin was always scheduled to be our guest for this episode, and she had been spending some time in Jackson Hole, Wyoming last week. So we said, why don't we try something that pertains to where our guest is, that she can get there and
great idea.
Talk about if she was there. And of course she's left Wyoming now.
No, she's in Los Angeles
so
again.
I went to pick it up. But I was very excited. I went to a really good whiskey shop, a liquor store that I go to here in Florida, and of course they have a huge array of stuff, and it was very easy to find the Wyoming whiskey. And the bottle was really nice looking. The color right off the bat, beautiful. It's 88 proof. So it's a little higher than your standard, Jim Beam or Jack Daniel's, which is usually 80. So
let's just tell everybody it's a bourbon.
Let's crack it open and have a sip.
It's a bourbon.
It's a bourbon.
So it's an American bourbon.
Now, Rich, while we taste this is what I wanted to bring up, that they're a very small company. I mean, they're very small, very new. And I want to say that over the last decade, let's say, the micro batch, the micro distillers and all that has become quite popular. I mean, it started with beer. I'd say 10 years ago. I mean, how many microbreweries popped up? Where we live in California alone, San Diego has more microbreweries than anywhere else in the world. There's like 200 or something.
Really?
So,
San Diego?
Yeah. So microbreweries, really took over, and now you have all these awards and contests and all these things for people who make small batch stuff. And then of course, now it's kind of segued into now distilling and making spirits. In LA alone, okay. We have, for example, have you had the True gin and True vodka that I drink? It's TRU, True, fantastic vodka, fantastic gin, and they're made right in downtown Los Angeles. They make it all right there.
I have had
it's called the Green Bar Distillery.
I've had that vampire wine and vampire vodka, which little note is made by a girl from my hometown in Yorkshire. So and she lives out here in Beverly Hills.
We've also discussed before, Rich, the Lost Spirits Distillery in Los Angeles, and they're kind of cool because they make a whiskey there. First of all, you can take a tour of the distillery, and it's supposedly, I haven't been yet. Of course, obviously during these current times, everything's closed. But once they reopen to tourists and tours, it's like apparently like visiting Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. I mean, they have a boat ride that you take, and it's all trippy. And have you ever heard of this?
Is the boat floating on like
it's like a remake
a lick of vodka?
Of whiskey? I hope so. It's apparently taken from the Willy Wonka story from the movies or the books.
Really?
I don't know where, but they designed it in the theme of Willy Wonka. So you go to the distillery and you go through this whole trippy trip, and then you get to do some tastings. Now they're very interesting, and I met them at an event that I curate in the summer with whiskey, and they came and they age their whiskey in 2 weeks to a month, purely by a scientific process. They figured out how to age whiskey instead of sitting in a barrel for 5 years waiting for a batch. 2 weeks to a month, it's already aged.
That's very interesting.
They brought it to the event, and I tried it, and it was absolutely fantastic.
You know what? That's like, remember the Taiwanese whiskey that we did a couple of episodes ago, and it was the climate that aged that whiskey a lot quicker than usual.
Right. Now these guys at Lost Spirits are complete scientists.
So how
these are scientists who are whiskey lovers.
So how did they? I mean, did they heat it up?
They explained the process to me, and I could not tell. It has something to do with oxidation, and I mean, it's pure.
It's the
full-on science.
The environment, right? They pump in
they must recreate some kind of
gas into it or something. Yeah.
That jet propels the aging process. So I would love to have them on, and I would love to visit. And bring them on as a guest.
Yeah,
and they're hometown, locally made in Los Angeles. And there's one more Los Angeles one which is a whiskey that I came across, which is the Mulholland American whiskey. It's not a bourbon because it's less than 50% corn. They don't make theirs in LA. They distill it in Indiana. They bottle it. They age it in Kentucky. I think I have that right. And distilled in Indiana, aged in Kentucky, and then bottled. They bring those barrels here, they bottle it here, and they call it the Mulholland.
All right, well, let's get on with this one then, shall we?
What I'm saying is that now we're trying Wyoming whiskey, which is in that same vein. A local distillery, completely off the beaten path from Kentucky or anywhere else, and they're making their stuff in Wyoming.
Yeah, I mean, you can get it in Los Angeles. I got it at Bevmo.
It's available everywhere. I want to talk about them for a bit. They have a cool story.
They're not a small distillery. I mean, technically they are compared to the big ones, but
they only do small amount of batches, and they
got good
have
distribution.
They have two expressions.
Yes, they do.
They make.
Okay, so let's get into this.
This is their basic. I just want to. So right off, smells really good. Now this one is 68% corn, so they're up there in the corn percentage. So, and I'm smelling the corn right off the bat.
It smells like cornflakes. Yeah. It smells like rye to me.
Good color.
It smells a lot more like rye than bourbon.
Okay. Did you try it yet? You ready?
Not yet. Go. Let's go.
Cheers.
Cheers.
A little bit of burn.
Ooh. It's got a bit of.
All right. Would it be really bad if I compared it to Fireball? I'm not a big fan of Fireball.
I don't think anybody's a fan of Fireball.
Let me say this. Let me say this.
Maybe it needs some water in it.
I think they're artisans over there, and they're good whiskey creators. There's nothing bad about this. This is actually a fine whiskey, a fine bourbon, but this is definitely not for the timid. This is not for the timid.
I wouldn't introduce.
You gotta really.
Yeah, I wouldn't introduce somebody to the world of whiskey with this. Put it that way. I've put some water in it though, so it might just change it. It might change it totally. So
it has a really nice finish. So this one, this is
put some water in it. Put a drop of water in it. It's amazing.
Opposite of the Taiwanese whiskey, Rich. Remember that started very smooth. And then finished a little harsh. This is the opposite. This starts right. It hits you and you're like, whoa, but has a really delicious, smooth finish.
Yeah, it's got a. You can definitely taste the wood in there. I mean, there's a lot of wood.
It's not harsh. It's not. Oh my God, yeah, you can taste the wood. It's not harsh. It's not a harsh flavor. It's smooth.
It's an interesting flavor. It's very, very interesting.
I'm tasting wood. I'm tasting wood.
Are you getting spices?
And vanilla.
I'm getting
a little vanilla, right?
Yeah, I think that's the corn, the cornflakes vanilla, but I get a lot of spice as well. Do you get that spice?
It's not too bad. This is definitely though. I think this is for the more experienced whiskey enjoyer.
Whiskey connoisseur.
I'm sweating.
No, I'm telling you, put some water in it. It's way better with water. It's like it's actually really nice.
But
with water.
What would you expect from Wyoming, the land of cowboys and cattle and ranches?
Yeah. This
is going to be a little.
This will put hair on your chest. This is
absolutely.
This is a man's whiskey.
Hey, no, there's ladies. There's ladies who can handle it. And by the way, the owner of the company is a lady.
Well.
So the water
helps a lot,
definitely distills it a bit, dilutes it a bit, and it makes it a little smoother. I actually prefer it neat.
Really?
I feel like I'm feeling a little bit of Scotch.
I'm not feeling any Scotch at all.
I say this all the time.
It's definitely.
But with this bourbon, I'm tasting a little Scotch.
I'm gonna try with ice.
I'm gonna try with ice too. I like the neat. I mean, this definitely. Again, I think this is for the more experienced drinker. This is not your first out of the gate. I'm going to try some Wyoming whiskey. Unless you're from Wyoming. Again, it's a little, not rough out there, but, you got some terrain and cowboys. And, if you're going to be a cowboy or cowgirl, this is going to be right up your alley.
I think it's one to keep you warm when you're skiing, right? Are you skiing up in Wyoming?
You do. Jackson Hole, where Carin was.
Jackson, yeah.
I put on some ice. Let's see. I love it with the ice.
Yeah, I like it. It gives it a little more sweet. I don't know why, but it tastes a little sweeter with the ice. Right, you get that sweetness.
It does. Yep.
Would I buy this again? I would. I would definitely buy this again. If I wanted.
I absolutely would.
It's one to keep on the shelf. To when you just kind of over the others and you want to try something a little different. Why not? I wouldn't go to it on a regular basis, but every now and again, it's nice to have in the collection. definitely.
So,
Definitely, yeah.
It is good to have for the collection, and I like supporting the small batch companies, right? So let me bring it up. So they're a small operation. They're from Kirby, Wisconsin. Good Lord, they're from Kirby,
God.
Wyoming. Now, just to put this in perspective,
It's
I've
very-
never been to
it's very
Scotland.
strong, isn't
I've
it?
never been to Scotland, and I've never been to
Wyoming.
Kentucky. I have been to Wyoming several times,
Oh,
and I've
wow,
driven through.
there
It's
you go.
beautiful. It's gorgeous, and I've stayed there. I spent the night there in a snowstorm once, but. They're from Kirby, Wyoming, which is on the west side. Wyoming's like a perfect square too. If you look on the map, perfect square. It's pretty amazing. It's the only state. It's like a square, and they're on the west side there, the west coast of.
The west
Wyoming.
coast of
They're
Wyoming.
Kirby, and what's more important is that
I think
they're in
it's
an
the
area
coast,
called they're called the Big Horn Basin, which is a large area of Wyoming that's very well known, and it's the Mead family. Brad and Kate Mead. They're ranchers. They own ranches and farms, cattle ranches, and all kinds of things out in Wyoming.
Nothing to do
And
with the honey liquor mead, right?
no. Nope.
Nothing to it.
That's the other part of the world. But that's Brad and Kate Mead. They're ranchers, big time, long time family. It's 150 years they've been in that area. And they came up with the idea that they wanted to make their own whiskey, and they got a gentleman named David DeFazio. They call him the Faz. Dave DeFazio, he's the guy with the recipe. I guess he's the distiller who's perfected the recipe. He's an interesting guy too, and I'd love to have him on the show to talk about the whiskey and also what he does. He's a lawyer, he's an attorney, but he's also kind of like one of these worldly Anthony Bourdain type guys who just has traveled the entire world and has had food and drinks with people, all types of people, and he's a mountain climber and a rafter. He does all kinds of adventure things.
It's definitely. I mean, the taste you can tell it's somebody who's got like a worldly kind of palate to come up with a flavor like this, because it's not your average. It's just not your average bourbon, is it?
No, it's not. It is not.
Yeah.
And it's good. It's nice. I'm really enjoying it now as I'm drinking it. Nice and stuff.
The more the
so
ice
he's a
gets
very
into
worldly
it-
guy. He's been around, and he's the main guy. He's got the secret recipe. He put it together. And just so you know, the notes. I'm looking at my notes. The notes of the whiskey. You were right. So it's vanilla. The vanilla, caramel, and cinnamon.
Cinnamon,
You said a little spice in there.
Yeah, you can
And
taste
I'm tasting it. I'm
Yeah.
tasting. Remember, I said fireball right off the top.
There you go, right off the top.
Boom, boom.
Yeah.
See.
Yeah, well,
See?
and I tell you
This
what, with the
this
ice,
is
with the ice in it,
first-class
it tends to
Fireball.
get. God. This is not a
Right.
commercial for this Wyoming whiskey, is it? So
No, it is, and I think it's good to have a good, honest opinion. I am liking it. I don't dislike this one bit. I think it's wonderful. I've had some really bad stuff. This is not bad stuff by any means. This is good quality. They've won tons of awards.
yeah,
So
no,
people who actually know what they're talking about.
I'll tell you what. It
know what a good whiskey is.
It tastes very clean as well.
Very clean.
Does that make any sense? That it tastes
It,
clean?
it absolutely does.
Right? It's got-
it absolutely. Like I said, the finish is very smooth.
Yeah, it's got a great
I think
finish.
you get the cinnamon. You get the cinnamon up front, and it's like ooh, and then a nice, clean, smooth finish that's like refreshing.
I feel like it'd be good with a cigar.
Absolutely would. You say that every episode. Okay, so.
Probably.
For a guy who doesn't smoke. All right, but let's talk about this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good.
let me tell you something, because I mentioned before, for example, Mulholland whiskey. They're distilled in Indiana, Asia in Kentucky. These guys source everything locally. 100% Wyoming locally sourced ingredients. So we're talking about the water. They have a river. They have a body of water. I think it's a river there that they get. They source their water
Creek,
from. The
river,
barley,
yeah.
the corn, the wheat, and the rye. All non-GMO.
all grown.
All non-GMO.
Right there.
And they get everything local. They don't
Right.
get outsourced from anybody. They either grow it themselves or outsource it from their neighbors. That
I
they've
mean,
been-
that's the way to do it, isn't it?
it's completely local to there from top to bottom. And I think that's nice. I think that's a really good thing. I don't think a lot of people do that.
Yeah, I mean,
And the
I'm
aging part, you
sure.
mentioned something about the char before. So
Well, it
it's
says,
a bourbon.
yeah, it's a bourbon. So, it's
So
been
new
charred.
barrels,
It's
new
new barrels
barrels.
with a char. It actually says on the bottle itself. It says distilled, barreled, bottled.
Do you have a date? A date that it was bottled?
Yes, I
September
do.
18th,
Okay.
2018, batch number 54.
Batch number
your
54, September
What's your date?
1818.
That's the one I have. I bought it in Miami. You bought yours in.
In
All right, so we
Los
got from the same
Angeles.
batch. Well, but that's what's out right now, and it's a good thing. That shows the consistency, right? That you and I are also drinking the same thing,
Yeah, well, there you
same
go.
batch.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I think Karen's batch is different.
We'll have to ask her and see.
I'll have to ask it. Yeah, because I gave her bottle
Yeah,
yesterday.
and just for their aging, just so you know, for their aging, this area of Wyoming also is known for very, very, very hot summers and very, very, very cold winters. So they get the extremes on both sides really hard, which helps with the aging process if it's going to sit for 5 years. Their minimum, I think they age 5 to 8 years is what I read.
Really?
5 to 8 years for their batches, yeah.
So
Now, Rich, you're the whiskey guy. You like to talk about how whiskey is made and stuff. Do you know, and I read this on their website, it's pretty cool. They give you their recipe for making the mash.
should we try it?
This is the ingredients for one mash. This is what it's called, and hopefully somebody can help enlighten us in this a bit. Because as much as we drink, we don't know anything.
We need a still, but we can make the mash.
No. I just want to tell you what goes into this. Making a batch.
Yeah.
The ingredients for one mash bill. One mash bill, I guess, is one mash.
Big pot.
Pot,
big
whatever.
Pot of it, yeah.
For mash cooking, 1,100 gallons of water.
Right.
450 gallons of back set or thin stillage. I don't even know what that is. Do you know what that is? Back set?
No.
No, we'll have to Google that. 3,183 pounds of corn.
Wow.
That's 68% corn. 951 pounds of wheat, which makes up for 20%, right?
Right.
And then 570 pounds of malt barley, which is 12%.
And
go.
Do they malt their own barley or do they buy it malted? Because that's the thing.
I don't even know what you're asking me. I don't even know what malting means. Isn't that what isn't that what like a snake does or something, or an insect? They molt after
they
molt.
molt.
Okay.
No. So malting. So a lot of the distilleries and breweries in England and Scotland have their own malting houses. So they.
Right.
I think I explained this the last time we spoke, but basically it's the germination of the barley. When you heat it up, it germinates and it brings out all those flavours. It makes it malty, and so with Scotch, they use peat as a fuel.
Multi Python, isn't it? Multi Python, isn't that a show you watch in England?
Multi Python, that's exactly what it is. I'm sure somebody is right now making a Scotch called Multi Python, which would be quite fun.
We should get the name. We should get the name on that. We should get the rights to that.
Yes,
Python. But listen,
but
snakes molt.
Oh God.
Multi Python. Okay, so listen.
Really putting the idiot in Whiskidiots tonight, aren't we?
Yeah, I'm on my third glass here with the ice. I'm going to say I like the neat. Remember you said the ice brings out the sweetness? Mm-hmm. That sweetness definitely, like you mentioned before, is the corn. It is the corn.
Yeah.
And now it tastes, I'm very heavy corn. Remember, there's 68% corn. I mean, do the math.
Yeah, it's
68%
and
corn, 12% barley, and 20% wheat. That adds up to 100.
Yeah. It's not very. You know what?
I think do math.
that wheat comes through a little bit as well. I can taste that wheat a lot more than you can in most bourbons. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So if you're drinking,
I'm gonna enjoy it.
Yeah. So but if you're drinking like a Jim Beam, for instance, a bourbon everybody knows, you don't get as much as that wheat as you do in this one.
It's corny.
It's delicious.
It is good.
It's good. Now, okay. Price point.
Let's talk about price point.
So price point.
I forgot what it was. It 60?
It was
45. 45.
It was around about. It was actually on sale, wasn't it? I got it on sale for I think 40.
Mine was not. I think I paid 45.
Yeah, I think $40 is great because that bottle's going to last you a while. I mean, well, maybe it'll last me a while. I don't know about you.
Well, look. I mean, let's bring that up.
But okay, my. I think we should use the benchmark from the first show of Wild Turkey, which is $20. So is it
16 at my supermarket?
Bloody hell!
If you use the Yvonne's Club card, it's 16, which is like, how on earth can it happen? But we talked about that. They're a monstrous company that has such massive.
Okay, is this
product?
Is it twice as good as Wild Turkey, or is it on the same par, or what do you think? Because I mean, if we use Wild Turkey as a benchmark for the price point, I mean, I'm talking price point. I have no problem.
That's a very good question. You pinned me up. You pinned me up agast the wall here.
Well, I have no problem paying $40 for this.
Is it twice as good? Maybe not from my palate. Quality wise, now, I'm talking about taste. I just happen to prefer Wild Turkey. But quality wise,
I'd like to do an A/B.
I would. Quality-wise, I can taste the quality in this.
Yeah.
And it's a smaller batch, and I understand that, so I know I'm going to pay more for it. So for $40 to have a very good quality whiskey like this, and you're going to last, a little bit.
I think it's good.
Absolutely.
I think it's good value. I think it's good value. I think we'll definitely.
I don't think I will like it in a cocktail.
Ooh.
The corn taste is too.
I don't know. No, you've
the
got
corn
me,
for me for an old fashioned, for example.
Yeah.
For an old fashioned, for example, the corn taste is too protrudes too hard,
But
and I think
supposed-
it'll clash with the other stuff that I have in the old fashioned versus wild turkey, which is less corn taste, or a rye, which the original old fashioned was actually rye, the original old style 100-year ago recipe.
But
for the old fashioned
bourbon now is used in old fashions mainly.
Absolutely, I use wild turkey all the time. So
you know
is it twice as good? No.
I'll let you do the.
But is it worth the price point?
Is it worth the price point?
Is it worth the price point?
Definitely.
100%.
Definitely.
So kudos to the Wyoming Whiskey Company, because they're actually doing a great product, and I'm a champion for micro distillers. I'm a champion for smaller labels, and especially off the beaten path. They're not in Kentucky. They're not in Tennessee or wherever. They're out in Wyoming. Doing their own thing in their own spot, and very proud of what they do with their locally sourced products. So I have 100% kudos to them, and thumbs up from me.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. So okay, let's get over to Carin.
Let's check in with Carin. I like to check in with Carin,
see what she thinks,
and see what she thinks, and talk to her about her art and all that stuff. So
all right,
let's check and see. So Carin, are you there? Whiskidiots to Carin. Whiskidiots to Carin.
Yeah.
All right, and there she is. Carin Hazmat, everybody. Carin, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. So you're home and back in LA.
I am, and you're in our old home of Florida.
In our old home of Florida, and Rich is also home in LA.
I was north of you. You were south, but you were there.
Not far.
Not far. Not far at all.
So, Carin, have you cracked open your bottle yet? So you were in Jackson Hole last week.
I was in Wyoming and in Utah and wandering around places.
Just hanging?
Just hanging.
Well, you inspired us because we knew you were going to be our guest, and we were like, let's do something a little local to kind of tie in with where you were. So we found this awesome Wyoming whiskey distillery that they're on the west side of Wyoming. They're far from Jackson Hole actually, but they're in Kirby.
The one that was the farthest away from places that I go. That works.
That's all right. How was Jackson Hole? Had you been there before?
Yes, I go there a lot.
What's cool about these guys is that all of their ingredients that go into their whiskey, because there's a lot of small batch companies out there that outsource to other places for their ingredients. This stuff is 100% Wyoming. Everything, the corn, the barley, the wheat, the water, it's all sourced from the Big Valley Basin, I forgot what it's called, but in Kirby, Wyoming, it's all from there, all locally sourced, non-GMO ingredients.
Yeah.
So does it taste good? Okay, so are we trying it with ice or without ice for you guys?
I have it on ice right now. Rich, what are you doing?
I just drink.
I'm gonna do another ice because it's really good.
We're gonna do ice first.
Yeah.
Now, Carin, are you a regular whiskey drinker?
I will drink things. I do like whiskey. I do like old fashions. And I've been tasting with you gentlemen a amount of times in downtown.
Sure
Remember those days?
Scotch.
Oh, God.
We've been very lucky to have Carin with us on some travels. We've been to England together. We've been all over California together. We all like the same music. And as a group of friends, we've definitely traveled around and seen some great shows and some great experiences. So, Carin, I want to talk about a little bit about what you do. You're an artist, first and foremost.
Yes.
A visual artist, painting, graphic design, and clothing. You design clothing, and you've kind of managed in your business and your world to tie it all together. You were like, okay, well, I like music. I want to hang out with, I want to produce music-based stuff. So why not make clothes for rock stars, make posters for rock stars, make graphic art and designs for their merch and T-shirts and things, right? Pretty much.
I like to do things. Yeah.
You do. Well, before we get into that, let's talk. Did you try
a lot of things, and you're very, very busy.
You do.
Which is
I will say this:
it's a real testament to you because you're always working. So and
her art is bad. Her art is badass, and we're gonna post. We're gonna post a bunch of her art to see during the edit of this. But she does some really, really cool stuff. And if you're a musician and you need some new branding and some work done, this is the person you call, and she'll make you look cool.
So, Carin, quick question: how has the COVID affected you and your business right now? Because obviously you're not doing concert posters anymore.
The
T-shirts.
concerts are. We're hearing about 2020. 2022 is kind of insane.
2022 is that what they're saying? Jeez.
That's the word on the street right now.
Well,
I mean,
but they're going to call you early on. I mean, people, if they know they're playing next summer or the summer after, they're calling you now for that art, I imagine, and the merch and tour merch and stuff.
Well, right now we're mainly doing web sales. So everything's based around web sales for merch for bands and retail and stuff like that. That's been the main income, it seems like, for bands right now.
Right.
And people are buying crap off online like crazy. I mean, I know I have. I've spent the last 4 months
we're
like,
all stuck at home, and as long as we're working, we're gonna want to.
yeah, and for you, that's great. There's still an avenue there of income coming in because people want new merch from whomever, and you're there to create it.
Yeah, are the bands asking for new designs and stuff then? Is that what's going on with you?
Yeah, like right now I've been working on Halloween designs and Christmas designs. So, you know, all the web stores are gearing up for the main sales times and, you know, doing COVID pieces. And
I was just about to ask that. Is everybody like Marilyn Manson now doing, I want a COVID themed
a lot of people
can't kill Manson thing?
I did an Alice Cooper one that was, you know, no tour for summer. So everyone, you know, we're doing the.
Why not? There's an angle. There's everything has an angle.
Alice Cooper did that famous song, "The Man Behind the Mask."
And I did one of those T-shirts.
Hey. Oh, you did? Oh, okay, there you go.
What do you think about the whiskey? Because Rich tried it prior to us talking to you. He was like, "This is a very manly whiskey." He was like, "This is
a wizard beard from drinking this." No, it's actually really good. I do not judge if it's a female, or how do you judge if it's a
I don't either, but Rich seemed to think it was a little more on the harsher side, that maybe the ladies might not like it as much.
No, what I said is it'll put hair on his chest. And
she said a wizard beard, so she kind of was with you on that. I mean, is it harsh? Is it a little strong?
I mean,
I don't think it's that strong, but then again, I have it on ice because I didn't go straight. I do like the
We went straight to start.
We went straight.
You gentlemen are bolder.
Are you enjoying it? I mean, would you drink it again?
I would drink it again.
It's not bad, right? It's not bad. I think
it's
supporting a small batch company that's competing with the huge distilleries, they make a really nice small company whiskey that I'm really enjoying. Right? What did you say?
I think it's very good.
And you, who goes to Wyoming all the time, it's a little, you know, your new home away from home. This is kind of
a little taste of the wilderness.
Their local sauce.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Let's rewind a little bit, Carin, because I want to talk about. When you were a kid, were you an art geek?
I was a complete art nerd when I was a kid.
You were. Absolutely. Were you like you walked around with a pad in school and pencils and kind of stuck to yourself and that whole.
All of it. All of that. Stuck to myself, just drawing. Absolutely.
Which is amazing because that's what you always hear about, like creative types, right? You start, when you're in school and stuff, you kind of stay to yourself, honing your creativity, and of course, everybody becomes a big success later in life once you get out of high school and all that bullshit over there.
Yeah,
now you're a big artist.
I was told as a kid that I was always found in a corner somewhere drawing by myself, and I still kind of do that now. So it works out.
I've seen you do it. I've seen you do it.
Changed. Absolutely.
And I think that's amazing.
Do it when we were in London.
You sure did. I think that's amazing. I think that's cool. We all kind of, as musicians or filmmakers or visual artists, I think we all had kind of that same in common thing in our childhood, that we were a little different
I think
from the jocks.
Yeah, it's
and the scholars.
It's part of honing your craft, though, isn't it? I mean, you know, when you're a kid, you just get into what you're into.
You're just doing it.
You know,
it's what your soul is telling you to do.
So
you've always been an artist since young.
Pretty much.
You discovered this and off you went.
Off I went.
Yeah. So you were in Palm Beach, right?
Yeah, up and down. I grew up in Vero Beach and then made my way down from Hobe Sound to West Palm was the last place I lived in. Actually, West Palm, Jupiter.
Exactly. And I know the area very well.
Yes,
and that could be an interesting place. It's a little different in Florida because there were so many artists. I feel like, I mean, I played in a punk band in Florida in West Palm. Marilyn Manson came from this area.
Florida. I miss that because, well, also where I was in West Palm, there wasn't really that much. So we had to drive to Miami for anything,
right,
or Orlando or Tampa if we really wanted to go far. Fort Lauderdale, we had the Edge, which was later the Chili Pepper.
Yeah, and everybody came through there. So we were, both of us being Florida kids, we were kind of a little different than somebody, let's say, growing up in like Nebraska or somewhere where they had nothing. They were really.
I mean, you're making it seem a lot cooler than it was. We didn't really have that.
But it was good. There was an advantage. I think we had an advantage. I think because of there was nothing to do, a lot of kids gravitated towards art and music and stuff.
I think I gravitated towards music because there was nothing else to do.
Well, that's a good point because so many great bands come from England, and it's because there's not a lot to do there.
Birmingham, right?
And you know, and because England's pretty much the same size as Florida, you could get around it. So you could do a gig in Manchester and live in Nottingham, and you know, so it's easy to get around now. And Florida's kind of like that same kind of size. You know, you've got Miami.
I'll tell you the difference. I'll tell you the difference, though, Rich. That Florida is like this little like thing hanging off the side of the country. Nobody would come through. They would go down to Georgia. They come down to Georgia and then they just bang west and avoid Florida. So we didn't get much.
5 hours to get down the coast to anywhere that anyone would play. So a lot of bands didn't come down.
So would that lack, Carin, would you think that lack of entertainment missing Florida made us create our own down here, and why so many great artists came from here? We had to create it ourselves. Nobody came through here.
Yeah.
We had to do it ourselves. And there's some really great stuff that came from here. Since Casey and the Sunshine Band, they were from Miami in the 70s.
That is very true. That is very true.
But like I bring Marilyn Manson up because he was here in the early 90s as a local artist. And the following here was enormous.
Yeah.
And a lot of kids were into it. And it was kind of cool and I was one of those kids. It was kind of cool that happened because that wasn't happening anywhere else. We had to make our own entertainment, and we had a few people who really did it well. And we all jumped on board with it.
Yeah,
Carin, growing up, were you always into the heavy stuff? I know what you like now. You work for some very heavy bands. Were you into the harder, darker thing always? Was your artwork always leaning that way?
Always was. I was always in the darker sorts, I guess. I don't know. Some people are just drawn to pastels and flip-flops, and I was drawn to the dark side.
It wasn't a phase for you. The witchy thing wasn't a phase. It's still going.
Never a phase. Exactly. What was it, Rich, that you said? Born in black diapers.
I never heard. That's an awesome one. Oh, that's fantastic. Absolutely.
Rich making fun of me for being slightly goth. Yes.
You know what? And that, again, that comes from being from a place where there's nothing to do. And it's also in you a little bit. So you've had this dark imagination, and you made some great art about it, or some great art with it. So tell us a little bit, Carin. Let's start with, we'll go to the clothes later, but I want to talk about the art a little bit. Okay. Where did it start, with posters or T-shirts? Like, how did the whole rock and roll connection happen for you? To move to LA? So
I moved to LA kind of on a whim, because at the time when I graduated at Rhode Island, I was going to move to New York City, and there was a big web bubble that happened, and so a lot of design firms, I graduated from graphic design, were not hiring. So my old roommate and I decided to just pack up stuff, move to LA and see what happened. And I got a job in the fashion industry. My first job was at a clothing company called Jenko. If you remember the baggy Raver jeans, the 90s.
Absolutely,
do. And in fact,
Rich still has some. Rich, pull them out of your closet.
You know what?
Rich,
it's
you
funny.
still wear those. Don't deny it.
Well,
I know.
I worked for a company called Musica. We worked with Jenko. We did a promotional CDs for them. So
there you go.
So,
that's right. We talked about this.
Yeah.
Yes.
So one day we were working with Jenko, and somebody came into the office with a big box of baggy jeans, and I wore them every day for like 2 years
until 2020.
So I loved it. I was like. I remember there was Jenko, and there was another band called brand called Diodora, and they were like the Jenko of sneakers, and they were just horrible.
Thanks for sharing.
Double down on Jenko. So
Carin, so you started off in clothing, and LA, downtown LA is one of the largest. I have a friend who used to run a fashion magazine in downtown LA. He said downtown LA is one of the largest producers of clothes and fashion on earth. I didn't know that. I mean, when you live down there, you see it. But the numbers are huge. I mean, the manufacturing.
Well, we have all the factories down in Vernon and everything. Yeah. So there's a lot of manufacturing here, as long if it's not done in China.
So you started with the clothing.
Started in fashion. Well, I mean, I worked in packaging before at Hasbro back in Rhode Island, but in Los Angeles as fashion. And then from there, I worked a couple different fashion brands, and then I started art directing and designing for some boutique high-end fashion brands in Los Angeles. And then the big collapse of 08, 09 happened.
Sure.
And I was doing a lot of T-shirts and stuff like that for a company called Giant that was licensing. So
are they licensing bands and stuff, like the stuff you find in Hot Topic and that kind of stuff?
When I was working there, it was mainly like Batman and Superman stuff.
Okay, superhero stuff.
And
so
a lot
Marvel.
Of drawn sort of.
Were you drawing? Like, were you when you say designing? Were you drawing original drawings like Superman and stuff?
Yeah, so it was like the skull version of Superman and the dark version.
Of course, add your twist to it.
So yeah, so I was doing that, and then it's a small industry, and I got talking to people, and so I after that happened, I think Giant closed down, and a friend of a friend was like, hey, we got a person at Live Nation. I sent my resume in. They're like, you're hired. So I started working for them, and then I started working for Bravado and a couple of different companies. And so then I've been in merch ever since.
And so it's a merch thing. So it started with the t-shirts essentially. Yeah. So let's talk about the band. Let's talk about the bands. Why don't you give us a little taste? Show us enough of who you work with. It's big stuff.
I've worked with a lot of different people. So anywhere from rap to pop to metal to
Black Sabbath.
Yes.
Marilyn Manson.
Yes.
Alice Cooper.
Yes.
Dead and Company.
Yes.
It's a huge one.
All over
Grateful
the place.
Dead. I mean, talk about merch. I mean, besides anybody. Remember we were talking about Kiss last week. But no, Rich. Remember we were talking about Kiss last week, Rich, and with the branding. Okay. If there's anybody who's going to compare as much in merch to Kiss, it's going to be Grateful Dead.
That is true.
As far as the size, Mark was saying that Kiss is $1 billion a year merch thing. Wow. I can say, and we were trying to figure out who could compare. Now that we have you on, we're talking about Dead and Company, Grateful Dead. Grateful Dead is probably equally as huge in the merch as Kiss. Yeah. So that's a big one. Alice Cooper, Rob Zombie.
I have worked for Rob Zombie in the past. Yes.
Unbelievable. So.
No, she's done great stuff.
I mean, quite a resume of stuff.
No, you're very close with Alice, right? Alice Cooper, like you do a lot of his stuff, and you've been on stage with him as one of his zombie nurses and stuff.
I've been a zombie nurse. I've been a nurse in a music video as well. Yes, they're wonderful people.
So let me ask you, Carin,
how did you get involved with Alice? How did that all start?
Well, can I segue for 1 second, Rich? Because I want to add to that question.
Okay.
How did you get involved to Alice? And then the B part to that question is, does each band come to you individually, or do they go to a company that you work for? You know what I'm saying? Or does each manager contact you separately, or do they just go to a merchandise company and you're like one of the in-house creators? You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so I'll answer reverse.
Yes.
So both on that, yes. So sometimes individual bands come to me, and sometimes the merchandising company comes to me. So it kind of depends on I work project to project, band for band, so it's all different. And sometimes I get, like, what was it this week? I was working on Visto Blanco, which is Calico's band. It's doing amazing right now with Chuck.
Calico is Alice's daughter. Right.
And Chuck is Alice's bass player.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
So they have
I've seen them. We saw them, Rich. We saw them at the Ride for Ronnie thing. They were great.
Yes, they are great.
They're terrific. So there's Visto Blanco going on.
Yeah, so it's all different bands every week. I kind of don't know what I'm getting sometimes, so it's a good challenge.
And do these same bands come to you and say, hey, make some merch for us, make us a cool t-shirt to sell, a cool poster for the show, and then make us some clothes as well to wear on? Like, have you ever got like a full package deal with someone who's like, do it all?
Yeah, absolutely. I do full package with Alice. There's been a couple of bands that I've done full package for.
That's great.
It just depends on who wants what and what I can do for them.
When you were doing the Sabbath, I mean, I remember vividly I think you and I were on the plane back from London. You were working on Sabbath, I want to say. You were sitting next to me on the plane on your laptop working away. Does like Sharon Osbourne actually call you up and be like, no, don't put the demon here, put the demon here? Like,
I wish. That would be amazing. No, for Sabbath it was through Live Nation.
So they're the merchandise company.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so they handle a lot of merchandising for a lot of bands.
So Carin, so with Live Nation, are you getting a lot of work from them at the moment? I mean, are they?
I have not worked for Live Nation for about 1.5 years now.
Oh wow!
So
remember to clarify for people, Live Nation is a concert promoter one of the top 2 in the world. But I didn't realize, I'm just learning now that they also have a merchandise company. I didn't know this.
They have a merchandising division. Yep.
I mean, most people, a lot of record labels do too. Like Warner had their own merchandise division. And of course, we know the people who do the Maiden.
That is Global.
Yeah.
Yeah, I work for them as well. Global's great. I love them.
Oh, Barry Drinkwater?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, so you work with them?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so we all know them. Yes,
we've hung out with Barry a few times, haven't we?
We have, and his son. And I'll tell you this, Rich, Carin, do you know we just before the COVID thing, we were hanging with Barry's son in the merch side of things. Do you know who the biggest merch seller on earth? This is a trivia question, and I don't expect you to know, but he told us who the biggest merch seller on earth is right now.
Well, are you talking band? What are you talking?
Yeah, are you talking bands or
artist, period. I'm opening the floor. It could be anybody. Could be anybody.
What, like the Lurkers?
I mean, could be any. No, music.
Okay.
This came from Barry's son. What's his name?
Benny.
From Benny. Benny told us this because I thought it was Maiden. I thought it was Maiden.
No, I'm gonna say. Well, okay. So is it?
I'm gonna say something as well. Okay, so you go first, Carin.
God, I want to say someone like. Well, it depends. Is it? Okay, are we talking about live or
live every night at a concert? Who sells the most? What are the merch receipts nightly for this artist? Nightly, every night when he plays an arena. I just give it away because it's not a band.
Oh man, I don't know.
Rich, you have any guesses, Rich?
I'm gonna go with Slayer.
Slayer?
No.
Only
more than Maiden?
I don't know. Well, I just saw because I saw Benny at the Slayer gig. That was the last time I saw him.
Travis Scott. Travis Scott.
Different day than me.
Travis Scott.
I was gonna say that's why I said Dolly Parton. I was gonna say
Travis Scott. Travis Scott does $1 million a night in T-shirt sales at his concerts.
That's insane.
Wow, that's a lot of money.
That's where we're at.
He must be really.
Kudos to him.
Yeah, I mean,
kudos to him.
I mean, and this is a problem. Like, I mean, he's
married to or was married to a Kardashian.
He's got to be hurting now. I mean, because he's not touring.
Or a Jenner, whatever you want to call it.
A Jenner. But
he's doing all right. He's doing all right.
So many things tonight.
That's the one thing.
So let's continue, Carin. I want to just talk a little bit more about the art.
You will learn something by the end of the night. You'll learn that we're idiots for a start.
You will.
But you
Carin,
Carin,
Carin, do you? So I mentioned before, you and I were sitting on a plane together. You were working on a laptop. Is your art all generated digitally, or is there still like a world where people hand draw stuff still and then integrate it digitally and manipulate it? But or is it just now it's all digital?
So I used to hand draw and scan in, which took a lot more time. And a couple of years ago, I don't know how many years ago now, maybe it's more than a couple. I got a couple of Wacom Cintiqs, and that has been life-changing because it is cut the time in half. Now, if certain projects...
we didn't get that on the audio.
You got cut out. You got what again?
Oh, I got the Wacom Cintiqs. So that's where you hand draw directly on a screen.
Like with an Apple Pencil, like on an iPad, or like kind of similar, but it's like a digital pad, and you have a stylus of some kind.
Monitor that you draw on. Yeah.
And it's pretty much hand drawing. So but you skip the scanning. You skip the scanning process.
There are certain things that with technology now you can pretty much emulate most things, but honestly, sometimes it just looks better to hand draw it. So
I mean, we're on a podcast which is audio, but I really want people to go see Carin's designs because they get very intricate. That's why I was asking about the digital versus hand drawing.
We can put that up
your
on
website.
The
What's your website, Carin? What's your website?
Hazmatdesign.net.
Hazmat Design, no S, right?
No S.
Yeah, hazmatdesign.net, and go check out her stuff because it really. I was blown away. Like I was friends with Carin for years and thought she was just my friend Carin. And she is really a respectable artist. Like, I was like, holy shit, I have a friend who can do this? I had no idea. All these years I wanted tattoos designed. I was drawing myself on napkins. I could have had Hazmat design me like a
I could have made all your tattoos, Jeff.
Have you designed anybody's tattoos? Have you ever done that for anybody?
I have in the past a couple times when I was very young, yes. Not recently. I've had a couple things.
I'm not asking you I don't want you to do the tattoo. I don't want you to do the tattoo, but a nice drawing to something I can put on me somewhere.
All right, let's do that. We'll get you a nice.
Just don't do that. We'll
get you a unicorn.
This is the problem with this stuff.
The problem that we're drinking during a podcast. Carin, have you ever done an album cover?
Yes, I have.
I wanted to know that because in the 70s and 80s, album cover art was like just as important as the album itself.
That was the thing. Exactly.
Nirvana, Nevermind, Guns N' Roses, Appetite, Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon. You've done some.
Well, remember as a kid, I mean, I remember the days of going into the record store and buying vinyl based off of the album art because you didn't really know.
Oh yeah.
Was that an influence? Was that an influence?
How many albums did you buy just because of the art and then go, Molly Hatchet, they're terrible.
I mean, I feel like
so many good ones though.
The hot chicks, but I bought a lot of stuff because I was like, oh my god, that artist is so cool.
Was that an influence?
And,
the Iron Maiden stuff, the Kiss stuff. I mean, there's some iconic stuff there. Even the Pink Floyd stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I remember staring at some of those album arts when I was a kid.
Metallica.
Damn, it's
I just read yesterday the cover of Master of Puppets, the original airbrush painting, sold an auction for $30,000, like 10 years ago or something like that. But
that's great.
And that same artist did a bunch of record albums for a lot of people.
It was a key.
So who'd you do an album for? Who have you done a cover artwork for?
Let's see. I worked on some ones for Alice. I worked a bit on one for Rob Zombie, the Hellboy Deluxe 2. I did for a metal band Holy Grail and for Black Star Riders. And now Ricky Warwick, I'm working on his right now. So
he's from Black Star Riders, yeah.
Absolutely.
And the Almighty, one of my favorite.
And that's what's interesting about that, because obviously in the last 20 years, music has gone digital and streaming. So album cover artwork is probably maybe taking a little bit of a back seat. Maybe it's coming back, right? Albums are selling more. I think the streaming thing, they figured it out. So at least a thumbnail now or something that represents that current album is an important thing.
It is a way to design, because now everything, like you said, in Apple is so small, which is taken into account in album art, because you have to have something that's recognizable, very small. So that is a design element that you have to take into account now. When you working with vinyl back in the 70s,
medium itself,
you had big real estate to be able to get super intricate, and now people are seeing things the size of this
on their phone.
So basically, your next album cover is going to be all emojis.
Absolutely.
Think about it. Right. You're talking about. Yeah. Look at that. You put it, Rich. You put a
series of emojis.
You put an album out now, and your album cover is a thumbnail on a phone to somebody who has an attention span of half a second. I mean, that's what you're dealing with. That's what you're up against.
Right now. Absolutely.
So Carin, apart from album covers and everything, and the posters that you do do your fashion, and you do this, like that jacket that we can see in the back is amazing.
Let's talk about that.
And I know that you use a lot of like reclaimed like leather jackets and stuff that so you're very environmentally friendly with that kind of stuff. You're not going out there skinning cows, right?
No, definitely not. Definitely not. Yeah, I do.
It's very dirty work.
Materials. Yeah, I'm not a big skinning of things.
Well, Carin, let me ask you though. You're for example, so you're a small, I would say even smaller than boutique in the sense that every piece is no. This is
wow.
A good thing.
Wow.
No.
That was somehow a backhanded compliment.
It is not. It is.
I don't know about the backhanded compliment.
No, Carin. What I'm saying is every single piece.
Than boutique.
When you walk into a boutique,
yes,
they have 3 or 4 of the same jacket. Your clothing is one custom made to order per person, right? I mean, it's every piece is an original, unique piece.
I do. Yeah, well, absolutely. So with my jackets, well, now with COVID, things are changing. What I used to do with my jackets were I would make one, and I would only make one per size run of that style. So then when it sells out, but that's it. But
you made multiples.
Well, one per size.
One per size. Now,
so one small, one medium, one large, or whatever.
With everybody staying at home and COVID, everyone's put on what I think it's the 15 pound. So are you making bigger sizes now for people who are staying at home?
I take all size ranges. That's
the thing, right?
Let me ask you this: I go see Alice Cooper live. He's got some rad pants on.
Yes.
Can I get those as well?
No. You cannot.
See, custom made. So there's the rock star clothes. Do you make, not mass produce, but do you make maybe stuff that's a little more affordable for? Oh, pardon me. Oh, this whiskey.
Don't die.
Let me try this again. Do you make something that's a little more like affordable or more available to the everyman person who wants to dress like a rock star? Doesn't have to be Alice Cooper with a large budget. can they get something from you that's just almost as cool or as cool on their budget?
I'm not one of those people that tries to mark up as much as I possibly can. I try to keep my jackets at lowest price as according to the materials as I can, in accordance to the time it takes as well. So, I mean, I've seen jackets go for $10,000. I'm not going to do that sort of thing. But yeah, when it comes to custom, especially for stage, I keep it as custom for stage.
For them.
Yeah, and it's the sort of thing where, you know, that's their special piece to wear on stage. Making other versions of it would be a merchandising tool, and that would be something that would need to be.
It wouldn't be as special for them if you did another
unless they
version.
decide to merch it.
Unless they decide to market it as their signature piece and stuff like that. Yeah, that's a different thing, but I just don't feel comfortable making, you know, even when it comes to people. I mean, I grew up in the ways of you make your own clothing and it shows you as an individual. So that's why I don't mass produce these, because then what's it fun if everyone has the same jacket on? You know, it doesn't.
That's correct. I think that's great. It makes every hazmat design unique.
Yeah,
and when you have one and it's yours. I don't want to get too much into the price point of it, but you do make high-end stuff. I mean, it's not cheap. It's not cheap stuff. It's custom made. You make it yourself, right?
I make it myself. See, the relevance of cheap and nowadays is really interesting because of the H&Ms and the fast fashions in the world. So I make in accordance to the prices of the materials of what I make, and I don't mark it up actually as much as I should. So I'm keeping it relatively at a decent price in consideration of the time and the effort, and really it's the materials. And I've had people ask me, you know, what can I get for $100? Which I can tell them a bag of studs, because that's how much a bag of studs.
There you go.
Which is the description of our podcast: a bag of studs.
A bag of studs. Oh, Jesus Christ!
A bag of studs.
Carin, if an H&M or Forever 21 came to you and said, we're doing a heavy metal line for this spring and we want to do hazmat designs, you know, a billion pants and rock shirts, would you be into that? Or do you want to stay true to your...
I got to say no. You know, it's just not my vibe. And I'm personally not for fast fashion. I think that it's environmentally unfriendly. You know, you're buying something, yes, at a lesser price, but you're just going to throw it out after it washes once and it's going to end up in a landfill. I am a sort of person that believes that, you know, if you pay for something that a craftsman makes, you're going to have it your whole life.
Oh yeah, I've literally had this
100%
t-shirt.
agree with
I've
you.
had this t-shirt that you made, I think 9
For your
years,
whole life.
for about 9 years.
Yeah, I know. That was one of the first things. Absolutely. It's been about 10 years. Yeah. So I'm not the wrong person to ask about the avocation of fast fashion.
So we've talked fashion, we've talked art. Carin, let me ask you this. Have you ever done poster art and album art are big collectible things? You've done quite an array now of some pretty heavy hitters. Have you ever done a show, an art show where people can buy, like at an art gallery or something where people can buy your art?
I have done group shows. I'm going to talk about discussing doing my own show in the future. So that's been in the talks. But yeah, no, I've never done my own show yet.
That's highly collectible stuff. I mean, that's collectible. People who are fans, I mean, that's collectible to them, and can garner some good wages.
I have a couple of fashion art shows, group shows in October at the Dark Arts in Long Beach and Copro in San Monica.
I mean, album art and poster art. I've seen tons of your posters. They're amazing. That's collectible stuff that people, you know, that are music fans would love to. I mean, just an art show of that. Yeah. I know there aren't like painting originals, but just to have posters all on display as your own show. I mean, for example, Rich, we've been to the Sunset Marquee where there's tons of photographs by one photographer who's photographed everybody. Those aren't originals per se; they're prints, but they're still highly collectible. Yeah, and I think the poster art goes on the same route.
I actually have, I think, 3 or 4 of Carin's original posters.
You do.
Which I need to.
So somebody here listening, Carin, they want to buy your stuff. Everything through the website.
Everything's on the website. So I have, the fashion is hazmatdesign.com, but everything the gateway is hazmatdesign.net, which goes for the art and the fashion. And
that's great. So if I want to buy an Alice Cooper poster or a Black Sabbath poster, I can get it there, or do I have to go to Black Sabbath's website?
Well, when it comes to gig posters, they're sold at the show, and so I make the poster for a certain show. It is printed for that show, and then artist proofs are sent to me, and then I am able usually to sell the artist proofs. So that's what I have on my web store. But when they sell out, they sell out. And I was fortunate enough to do a lot of stuff for Perfect Circle. They're great.
Cool.
I love working for them, and those posters went in a matter of minutes. Wow. And I still get emailed on at least a weekly basis.
Do you see your stuff
left somewhere?
Do you see on eBay like years later?
I do not search myself on eBay. Maybe I should.
You think somebody probably bought something at a show 10 years ago, and now they're trying to get rid of it on eBay for a lot more?
I got an email, was it last week, from someone that was looking for a Perfect Circle poster, and they said, we couldn't find them on eBay, and when we do, it's an absorbent amount of price. Do you have any? And I was like, I don't have any left. I sometimes keep one for myself, but then I started running out of room. I know that they are resold.
So, I mean, you obviously have all the originals on your computer, right? So, I mean, could you just reprint?
No, I cannot.
There's deals, right? There's like things you.
Yep, and then the original artist proofs were the ones printed for the show, usually through a silkscreen house, and they're shipped to me from the house, sort of thing.
All right. Oh, very interesting. Now,
excellent. So check out. Remember,
that's Maynard from Tool.
From Tool.
I just wanted to drag in a little bit of alcohol into that conversation because Maynard has his own wine. So the singer from Perfect Circle.
Oh, does he?
Yes, the singer from Perfect Circle and Tool has his own vineyard.
It's called Merkin Vineyards in Arizona.
Yeah.
www.hazmatdesign.com. They're going to get just the clothes. Is that
just
what
the clothes. Absolutely.
www.hazmatdesign.net. You're going to get the art.
Gateway to the clothes and the art.
Well, we're gonna put at the bottom of the screen here.
And then you have your
links
Instagram and Facebook. And do you tweet?
I do not tweet. I've been locked out of my Twitter for about 5 years now, and I've given up on life. I am not the biggest social media person. So
I just learned Twitter like 2 days ago. So everybody knows Carin Hazmat. www.hazmatdesign.com, www.hazmatdesign.net. Fantastic. Thanks for being here with us, Carin, because I think people should really check out your art.
Hey guys.
Yeah.
You blew me away with it. I think you've blown your clients away with it. That's why they keep coming back. Awesome stuff. The drawings are there. The artwork is there. The look is there. I think you nailed it. What more can I say? What do you think about the whiskey?
I was going to say, just before we finish the show, let's have a quick recap because we were all half a bottle in at this point. I know Joey's half a bottle in.
Wait,
I'm half a bottle.
I'm not half a bottle in.
I'm a third.
You guys had much more time to be drinking than me.
Carin, what'd you think? What'd you think of the whiskey?
Well,
being a Wyoming regular now.
It tastes like Wyoming. I'm super into it. Does Wyoming have a taste? I'm not sure, but
this is it right here.
It has a woodsy, fragrancy sort of taste. You know,
it's fresh.
It's good.
Fresh air. There's a lot of fresh air. There's a lot of fresh air, right?
Awesome.
It'll make you grow your beard back, Joe.
Oh God, we don't even get into that.
Joe used to have a wizard beard. It was very amazing.
I'll post it. There'll be a picture there.
He did have a wizard beard.
Joe's wizard.
There was birds living in that wizard beard at one time.
There was all kinds of stuff.
And he had to go to a very special shop in the middle of Soho, London, to get his wizard beard waxed.
I did.
I forgot about that. Yes,
that was a place I'd been following for a long time to get my beard done. They did a great job. The maintenance got a little out of control. Rich, I want to thank Carin for being here. Amazing. I really enjoyed this a lot because you're our first artist, like our first visual artist to be on here, and also a dear friend, like a really good friend for many years. So it's been a pleasure having you on here. I hope you enjoyed the whiskey.
It's been wonderful.
Thank you for said whiskey. I will drink this, not all in one sitting, but
I might.
Yep. Cheers to Wyoming Whisky. I mean, come on. You guys, you did what you needed to do.
Maybe sometime
Cheers to Wyoming Whisky.
We will be able to drink again. And
we shall. Well, I'll be back in LA in about a week or so. There might be one more Whiskey Idiots from Florida. This is the point of the show. All right, Carin, thank you very much. We love you, and you're awesome.
I love you guys.
You guys.
Thank you, Carin.
Thank you.
You're awesome.
Okay, so Rich, I want to thank Carin for being here. That was a quite insightful.
Can you put it on mute, Carin?
No, I didn't.
Mute the god. Mute. We're gonna kick you off.
I love you. Okay, I'm muting.
Okay,
Stand by.
mute.
Hang out. Okay. All right. So, Rich, I want to thank Carin for being here. That was quite insightful. Getting into the art side of music, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, she does the thing that a lot of people don't really understand and think about when you talk about the music industry, like all the artwork,
Yes.
all the fashion, all that stuff, that behind the scenes stuff, which is amazing.
it's an industry unto itself.
Yeah.
And she's like her own little industry, her company doing it, which is great. Clothing, original clothing for rock stars, album artwork, posters, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And that's the side, people are used to
very,
the music. There's
very
a visual
talented girl.
side.
Very talented girl.
There's a visual side that happens that I think is pretty impressive. And once everybody goes to her website, checks out her designs, you're gonna be like, holy smoke.
Okay. All right,
She knows what she's doing.
so
Let's get to the whiskey, Rich.
Final thoughts tonight. What did you think?
Final thoughts.
How far
here's
down the bottle are you? Let's look at that.
I'm almost half.
Oh my god!
I mean, like I got like another finger, and I'm half, and I'm
yeah.
enjoying it. Remember when we cracked it open? When we cracked it open, the first thing I said was I was like, "Whoa, Fireball," which I can't stand. And then we read the notes, and cinnamon is a major part of their notes.
It is.
On their list.
And you know what? When you try it neat,
it's much better than Fireball, that's for sure.
Definitely, when you try it neat, you can taste the cinnamon. But once you've got a little bit of water, a little bit of ice in it, it really opens up, and it's really, really good. I
will drink it again.
Yeah, I'll definitely drink it again
for sure. Now, granted, you can't get it in a bar.
Yeah, I'll recommend it for the price point. I'll recommend it for
$40.
It's a good bourbon, and I think
I'm all about, like I said, when I mentioned this a couple times already, I'm all about supporting the small local distilleries that are outside of the norm. They're in Wyoming, they're doing their own thing, and I'm all about supporting that. And not only that, they're making a fantastic product, like amazing whiskey.
As long as they're making a good product, I mean, yeah, and they are. So we'll call this a buy. A buy?
Absolutely, 100% buy. Right. It'll be on my shelf.
All right. Well,
and it's cool because if you have a friend who's into bourbon, who knows his stuff, they may not have tried this yet, and you can impress them with this.
Okay. Well, right? let's leave this as a bye from a buy.
A bye. All right. Well, cool, guys. All right. Well, thank you, Rich, for being here. I want to thank Carin for being here. If you have comments, suggestions, you can email us at whiskidiots@gmail.com. You can also go to our website, www.whiskidiots.com. There you can email us as well. You can also we have links to YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and an email from our website. So you can hit us up directly from the website. You can also go straight to SoundCloud and listen. If you want to watch, go to YouTube and watch.
Yes.
We're discoverable on there. Just do
and ring the bell for
actually
for
if you look up above here on us, you have all the links to YouTube, to Twitter, Instagram, and our website and our email. You can hit us directly from there. But please don't be afraid to comment. Yeah. Right? So send us your thoughts, and thank you for listening.
All right.
Anything else, Rich?
I think we're good.
Hit us. We're trying to get the social media thing going, so please hit us up. And we'd love to hear your thoughts. Remember, we have no idea what we're doing. We are not professional distillers. We are not professional whiskey makers.
But we are professional idiots.
We'll see you next time. Drink responsibly and don't drink and drive, everybody. Have a good one. We'll see you next week.
Cheers.